Looking ahead to Game 4 of the Vegas Golden Knights' second-round series against the Edmonton Oilers from Rogers Place in the capital of Alberta. With the Vegas Golden Knights games on national TV, we want to make sure that you get your Vegas Golden Knights pregame show, so we bring you the Realm Report inside Studio 31 at City National Arena. Darren Millard along with Shane Noddy, presented by Red Rock Casino and Resort. Welcome to the program. Shane, this is a swing game in this best-of-7 series. It's either 3-1 or 2-2.
Yeah, it's an important game for the Golden Knights. I think more importantly is how they start this game. That's been an area when they've started well, got to their game, it's carried through. And I think anywhere you look around the league right now, that's kind of these blowouts. There hasn't been a response. Vegas has been able to respond after giving up the first goal. But I think overall, an important game because you know there's going to be a pushback from Edmonton. Not happy with their last game. So for me, it's about dictating the pace early for the Golden Knights. You'd love to grab that 3-1 lead. That said, can't look too far ahead. It's about breaking it down into small increments. You want to start the game well. You look at that first 5 minutes, then it goes to 10, 15, then the first period, then you reset, get ready, and that's the way you have to look at playoffs.
Lack of consistency game to game has been startling in the second round. Vegas will try to repeat what they did against the Winnipeg Jets in the first round, and that is sweep both games on the road in games 3 and 4. They accomplished that in dramatic fashion in game 3 in double overtime, and then walked away with the double wins against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Vegas is coming off the best road record in regular season franchise history, and now they're 3-0 in the postseason away from T-Mobile, so they've got that going for them. A lot more variance in this series against Edmonton, however, with the club's alternating strong performances. A chess match, if you will, midway mark of this series.
Yeah, I think, that's the mental side of playoffs. It's more mental than anything else I find, and it's, we're going to expect their best, and we're going to try to do more of the same, what we did Game 3.
What is that mental preparation, or what kind of feelings or emotions do you have to keep at bay?
I think, just exactly what we did. Everybody knows how we went about it, how we got ready for the game and preparation, so more of the same.
Well, we're not going to change a lot of our style of play. Obviously, we're going to change what we feel we need to continue to get better. Most playoff series there's pushback for the, in this one particularly, but I think as you go along, we have to recognize that we still haven't played our best game yet. And that's got to be our goal every time, no matter what happened the night before. We have to continue to get better. We're playing a very good hockey team. So that's how I'm looking at it. Again, we looked at some things early on. Their rush game was very good. I think we have to be better in that area the first 10 minutes. If they convert on some of those chances, it might have been a different hockey game. Draisaitl rings went off the post early on at a 2-on-1. Those went in Vegas. So we can't get ahead of ourselves or full of ourselves here, right? There's things we need to correct, and that's a big strength of their game, and how we defend between the blue lines. I thought there's a lot of things we did do well, and we'll keep building on that. But that was an area that I thought early on that, I think there was 2 or 3 odd man rushes that, listen, they're going to make some plays, but we need to be more accountable in how we're going to defend that and make sure we're counting sweaters in front of us because they were leaving the zone early, and we have to make sure that we're ready to check and be over those guys that do that.
Couple of elements in this series, discipline and Aidan Hill coming in. We'll get to both those in just a little bit, but how does Vegas take advantage of what they did in Game 3?
Well, I think, Bruce just talked a lot about it. He said, and I think that's kind of been the message all year long. If you go back to the regular season, he talked about building their game. You go to round 1, it's about getting better every game. Well, that message is still ringing true for these guys. It's saying, we've not played our best yet. We still got areas we can get better, even coming off the 5-1 win. And he touched on it early on. They want to be aggressive. They want to have puck possession in the O-zone, but you got to understand when to be aggressive. Support, the reloads, he called them, weren't there. Do you need to read better when they can jump and pinch and keep the puck alive? Because it cost them early. Well, it didn't cost them, but there was some really good chances. The odd man rushes that the Oilers had, in particular, the Draisaitl one off the post. So, the Oilers are a quick team. They can get up and down the ice in a hurry. So for the Golden Knights, they need to have more awareness of those areas. And I think it's always easier to learn sometimes after a win on those mistakes, on those details to your game that you need to strengthen, that you can build, and then that builds your overall game heading into the next one.
They would love to score first
Yeah.
for the first time in this series, which hasn't happened. They're 4-2 when they allow the first goal in the Stanley Cup postseason. So that's falling in line with being disciplined. A continuation from Game 3, in which they allowed a series low 2 power plays against the Edmonton Oilers.
The message to me is simple. It hurts to win. That's what happens. Look at Petro last night, right? He took some shots, played through it, drew some penalties. And that's a bit of hockey this time of year. He's a guy that plays a lot of minutes, so he's won a Stanley Cup. I think he knows sort of what happens. So tremendous discipline on his part last night, and a number of our guys. We tried to finish our checks hard and clean when they were there and not chase it. We checked with our feet, kept our sticks down when we were finishing checks for the most part, and that was our goal, to stay out of the box. And eventually, you'll have some calls that will happen or won't, right? We just tried to play the right way, and we ended up not being in the box. And that's a big, you don't need me to tell you that. That's a big factor in this series. If we can keep it to 5-on-5, we feel we have a very good chance to win. And when we don't, we have to make sure our penalty kill's sharp but not frequent, and we've talked about that from game 1 on.
Yeah, we had great team discipline. It's been like that all year. The first couple of games wasn't great for us for the discipline side, but we kind of got back to what we did and who we are, and it definitely had an effect in the game.
What does it take to be disciplined?
You got to check with our feet, and sometimes you got to take some shots and walk away. Petro had a few where he had to eat some, and it's playoffs, so being disciplined is very important in playoffs, and especially against this team.
As much as you can, Shane, try to translate what that means. Take a couple of shots and walk away.
You can't retaliate. This is playoffs, so it's a different mindset than when you're in the regular season, and you can react to it, and you can go after someone because, there's going to be more games and everything. These are moments, we talk about playoffs, every moment is bigger, and that includes managing your discipline, being willing to take an extra shot, being willing to get punched in the face, take a cross check to the face like Pietrangelo did. All those little details, because in playoffs, it's just not worth it at this time, especially against the power play like the Edmonton Oilers. So this is, Chandler Stevenson earlier talking about mentally how much tougher it is in playoffs. That's a part of it. Having that restraint not to react.
That's going to be really hard.
If I can do it, they can do it. I'm doing it right now. So, yes, it's hard. Nothing's easy, but that's the part of it. I think, you're given a lot more in the regular season. You can react more, but when it comes to playoffs, it doesn't matter. Everything is about the win. So you've got to have that willingness to suck it up and say, okay, I'm taking it for the team. That's the way they want to think. That should be first and foremost on their minds.
We've got a great report coming up on the discipline side and the Vegas power play, which hasn't connected the last couple of games in just a little bit with Ashley and Dave Gosher, but 5-on-5, more even strength, in fact. Vegas is plus 16 in goal differential, and Edmonton is minus 4. That's a bigger sway than the power play, even with Edmonton's great man advantage.
It's the strength of the Golden Knights. It has been all year. You look at how disciplined they were through the regular season. That allows them. They're a team that loves to play 5-on-5. They haven't relied on their power play or their penalty kill. They've relied on their 5-on-5 play because of the depth they have. They have scoring up and down the lineup. They can get contributions from everywhere. And that is their strength over the Edmonton Oilers right now. So that's where discipline's number one key. You don't want to give the power play. That's what fuels the Edmonton Oilers. That, and then you got to limit the two best players in the world, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Well, you don't want to give them power play time because they excel there. And then limit it. They're going to get their looks 5-on-5, but you can limit them more that way because I'm not sold on the depth of the Edmonton Oilers. And that's where the Golden Knights have an advantage in my mind. And I think anybody watching these games, 5-on-5 is the strength for them going forward. So discipline, limit those top guys. The biggest way to do that is be disciplined and then play 5-on-5. Utilize 4 lines. It's a series, game after game, starts to wear down on the other team.
I love your language there. Limit them, not stop them, because
can't.
that's going to be really difficult, right?
It's a big ask to stop these guys. People try to do it all year long. They had 3 100-point guys. Although Nugent Hopkins, let's hope he doesn't wake up. But yeah, Draisaitl and McDavid. There's all top players around the league. Every time that you pre-scout, you plan, everybody goes to the meetings in every game, but they still put up, McDavid 150-some points. What is it? You know probably. You keep
he's approaching.
I don't have it on my notes. You gave me your cards, but you didn't write on them.
You've done a great job with those, too. Hold up your cue cards.
It's just for props. Darren reads.
I've got my stuff
This
on
is
mine.
how I should answer. Read right off the card. Anyways.
Well, he's got 168 points on the season, playoffs and regular season.
So you can game plan him all you want. He's still going to get looks. You got to limit them, give him the worst angles. Did a good job, talked about taking away the middle ice in the neutral zone. There's a couple plays last game where he's coming down and you're giving the outside shot. So you got to ask your goaltender to make some saves. He's going to get some looks, but you want to make sure those looks are at the worst possible angles, shots from outside, give your goaltender a chance to save them.
Continue to pull on the thread of discipline and power play. I'm told by this cue card, it's time to bring in Dave Gaucher and Ashley Weiss in the stands at Rogers Place.
Well, thanks, Darren. We've just been tearing up the town here in Edmonton, but thankfully the Golden Knights have shown more discipline than this guy, Dave Gaucher, right here. But in all seriousness, Dave, Bruce Cassidy made the comment yesterday that it hurts to win. He said that in talking about Alex Pietrangelo, who took a bit of a beating in Game 3, but didn't retaliate. How does the complexion of this series change if Vegas is able to show the discipline that they showed in Game 3?
Yeah, I think they've shown it actually most of the season, right? They don't take a lot. Bruce Cassidy's made a point of saying, look, they're the least penalized team, but that's all legitimate. And I do think there's a price to be paid to win at this time of the year. You get into May and hopefully June. I keep thinking of, Evander Kane needlessly running at Pietrangelo at the end of the first period the other night. Golden Knights get a power play out of it, didn't score, but that's okay. And I do think their ability to play with discipline, especially against this team. I mean, it's already been well documented, the historic nature of this Edmonton power play. That being said, the Golden Knights, I felt they gave themselves a much better chance to win the game the other night. If you look back at Game 2 in Vegas, they got behind early, took penalties early, never really got into the flow of the game. So hopefully they can follow that recipe that they followed in Game 3, which was stay out of the box. They took a penalty. There was, 47 seconds of power play time early. They took one late, which was not inconsequential. Bruce Cassidy was telling us before the skate today to kill that penalty off, even though it was a 5-1 game. So hopefully that recipe, they follow that again tonight.
They're going to take their penalties eventually, right? So you were talking about Bruce Cassidy speaking on the significance of that kill. Yeah. What did he tell you?
Yeah, just that. Look, he said, even though it's a 5-1 game, that's, the way it had gone, Edmonton had scored 5 goals on 9 power plays in the first 2 games of the series. So, and he said he thought the team was much more aware of puck recovery, right? The Oilers recover the puck. Usually that first pass after they got the puck back is east to west or cross ice. And he thought the team did a much better job of A, being aware, B, getting sticks in the passing lane. So that all helped. So, yeah, if you looked at it, you said, well, they get a power play late in the game in garbage time. I think the word he used was for the psyche of the team. It was important that they kill that off. Now, they're going to have to continue to play with discipline here if they're going to give themselves the best chance to win. Oilers have only scored 4 goals at even strength in the series through the first 3 games. So 5-on-5, I think the Golden Knights feel like they did in the last series. They're the better team.
You talk about that kill being good for the psyche. Would it be good for the psyche of the power play as well if they could get that going? And Bruce Cassidy had a little bit of a different look on those units last game. What did he tell you about that?
Yeah, we flipped Marchessault and Smith to the other units, and he flipped Pietrangelo and Theodore. I think some of that was to get Marchessault going a little bit. He hadn't scored in the playoffs, and he hadn't scored since the playoffs in 2021 in the Colorado series. So for a guy that led the team in goals, led the team in power play goals during the regular season, I think it was an opportunity to get him, the phrase that Bruce used, would get him some touches. Same thing with Shea Theodore. Shea's been kind of quiet in this series, so you'd love to see him. He's such a dynamic player with the puck, and especially on the power play. He's probably the best they have back there in terms of making plays on the man advantage, making plays to get them up the ice. So, a little bit of a different look, I think, but that was what he was saying. That was kind of the nature of it. So, we asked him, well, did you like what you saw? He goes, I wasn't thrilled with it, but some of that could be game related. A couple of the power plays later, it was already 5-1. you want to, I think human nature is you play it a little more maybe cautiously than you might otherwise. So, hey, that being said, their bread and butter all year actually has been 5-on-5, right? They scored a couple of power play goals in game 1. Haven't scored in the last couple of games on the power play in 2 and 3, but it hasn't seemed to matter much most of the season, but you'd like at some point to see it maybe, break through in key times in games and be a difference maker.
Yeah, why is it important as not only the series goes on, but hopefully the postseason goes on to get that going?
Yeah, well, it's just, I think it can break a team's spirit. You get a timely power play goal. I was talking to Jack Eichel a little bit this morning, and he said, especially, and you talk about a highly skilled guy, you want to get your touches early. You want to feel the puck a lot early, whether it's 5-on-5 or power play, but I think especially on the power play. Even if you don't score, it can change the nature of the game. It can give your team momentum. Well, we've seen it with the Golden Knights. It can drain the momentum. Yeah. So, that phrase that Bruce Cassidy used, I remember in the first round, at some point you break a team's spirit. And I do think that a power play can do that for you. We were joking around with somebody the other day that it feels like when Edmonton's on the power play, it's like they're the Harlem Globetrotters against the Washington Generals. And they just, even when they don't score, they feel like they're just about to score. Not many power plays are built like that. The Golden Knights are much more workmanlike, but they have high-end players that can break through. But I just think they've done so well 5-on-5. If that could bleed over into their power play part of the game, I think it could make a world of difference for a team that's already done well here. Look, great team on the road, 3-0 on the road in the playoffs, 29 road wins total this year. I think they feel comfortable in this scenario. Their play has shown that so far all season.
And hopefully they keep that up here in Game 4. Dave, thanks for doing this. And Darren, we'll send it back to you. We miss you, buddy, no matter what he says.
Yeah, he's speaking for you. Like,
she didn't miss me, obviously.
No, there's no love lost between you and Ashley at all.
That's hurtful.
Vegas proved they can win without the power play.
Yes.
But doing it without discipline is almost impossible.
Oh, absolutely. You want to keep and I remember, Todd McClellan in the first round against the Oilers said we've got to beat them either 5-or-5 or our power play has to match or at least try and stay as close as possible with their power play. Like if they're going to score 2 or 3, we need to score 1, 2. That's the way to do it. So, they need to continue the discipline. Their power play, their 5-on-5 is going to be their strength. Certainly, they'd love their power play to come through. And I think, what Dave talked about, speaking with Jack Eichel, it's important for those guys to have confidence, to get some touches, and I think at least get some chances. Even if you don't score, don't drain momentum, because we've seen times this year the power play do that for the Golden Knights, and they don't want that to happen. So I think overall, though, a lot of times your special teams will mirror your 5-on-5 play. We've heard coaches talk about it anywhere. So you look at their last game, 5-on-5 play, the best so far it's been in the series. I think it's got another level. So hopefully maybe now that along with that big penalty kill, even though late it didn't matter, you take little pieces, the psyche, the confidence, whatever you want to call it.
The result, but you're right.
Right. Those pieces, that mental aspect of it carrying over to the next game. All right, 5-on-5 was good. They're feeling a little confident. Jonathan Marsh is so. Now he's confident. I'm interested to see him on the next power play after having a couple of goals. All of a sudden, his shot's going to be on target a little more. The puck's going to move a little quicker. So we'll see. I don't think at this point, as long as the discipline stays in place, I think 2 or less, they're still going to take penalties. The power play, the pressure on it comes off a bit.
Game 4 tonight in Edmonton, and then the series resumes to the Strip in Vegas for game number 5. 2 big questions surrounding that one on Friday night. How about, will it be a clinching scenario for Vegas? If they win tonight, they're up 3-1. And the second big question is, will you be in the rink? A block of tickets have been made available. Upper Bowl and select lower bowl sections available. Visit VegasGoldenKnights.com to get your tickets now. The Realm Report continues. Ashley Weiss with Aidan Hill coming up next.
Nice save.
The greatest honor of being the defender of the ice is the opportunity to serve as a defender in the community. By joining forces with comprehensive cancer centers in the crusade against cancer, we can defend the health of so many in our community through cancer awareness, early detection, advanced treatments, and groundbreaking research. Together, we'll fight on all fronts for a future without cancer.
Golden Knights may be on the road for Game 4, but you can still enjoy the action with your fellow VGK fans. Join us at Red Rock Resort and Casino tonight for a Wednesday night watch party. Doors opening at 6:30. Shane Natty starts swimming laps at 7:15. The game all around all the action. 8 p.m. local start in Edmonton tonight, a later one than usual. So that's going to just throw a little bit of a tweak into all the game preparation. Here's Ashley Weiss with Aidan Hill, who gets his first Stanley Cup playoff start.
Late in your first 3.5 periods or so of playoff hockey in the books, how does it compare not only to the regular season, but to what you expected postseason hockey to feel like?
I mean, it's exciting. I mean, it's what you dream of growing up as a kid, right, is playing in the playoffs, trying to win the Stanley Cup. So, no, it's been kind of eye-opening. It's fast-paced out there and fun, and, yeah, I've been enjoying it and embracing it.
Can you take me through kind of the mental journey you go through from the moment your number is called in a game to when you finally feel settled in?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get the first shot quick when you go in cold like that. I mean, any game, it's nice to get the first shot quick, like even after warm-ups and you get in there. I don't know. So it was nice. I kind of got in. I think I got an early one, like a shot from the point that hit me in the chest. And, yeah, you just kind of settle in. I mean, I like when it's a good atmosphere like it is here in Edmonton. It kind of calms the nerves a bit, I find. And, yeah, just, I don't know. I guess you always just kind of have to be ready.
So you're saying the crazy atmosphere calms the nerves, or just getting that first shot calms the nerves?
I think both. I like
thrive
playing,
off of it.
Yeah, I like playing in atmospheres. I've always liked playing in away buildings when they're loud. I find it fun and kind of a challenge in a way, so I kind of embrace it.
Speaking of fun and a challenge, there was a moment in the second period where you were making a save and then you kind of got tripped up and then you made a save. It was a total desperation move. Could you walk me through, if you remember, what's going through your mind in that moment?
Yeah, I think I tried to stop the rim. It was rimming the glass and kind of, I think I got it with my stick a bit, slowed it down, and then went to the corner. And then as I skated back to the net, Theo, I think, kind of tripped up my foot by accident. He said sorry after, but mistakes happen, right? So, yeah, I kind of slew footing away and I fell, and then I saw their guy coming in and I was like, oh no, and just did whatever I could to get something in front of it.
So what goes through your mind when you do, in fact, keep that out of the net?
I don't think there's much going through my mind. I'm just looking at the puck and trying to make sure it stays out. I don't know, not much time for thought there.
How do you view this opportunity ahead, should you be the guy here moving forward for a bit?
It's exciting. I mean, I'm excited. I've worked my whole career for this, so you know what, I'm just going to embrace it, go day by day and keep working hard and just try and get the wins.
Thank you, Ashley. This will be different because he's starting as opposed to coming in relief the last two games.
Thanks, Darren. That's very observant of you.
How does it change? Because he's got this time to think about it and absorb in any kind of nervousness, right?
There is, certainly, yeah.
I'm ignoring your shot.
Well, it's true. When you go in mid-game, there's nothing to think about. So
Boom.
now this is going to be first, and this is started like last night. How does he sleep? How does he prep? But that's part of a professional athlete. You do this whole career of preparing yourself. You have routines. You have everything you go through. You don't want to change that just because it's a heightened level of game. You're in playoffs. So you've got to rely on what has made you successful in the past, whether playing in regular season games, to get to this level, to stay at this level. And that's why preparation, we hear players talk about it so much, because it's got to stay consistent. There's a routine. Guys will switch it up, but they have something that works for them. So for Aidan Hill, I think it's important for him to stick to his normal routine, get set, get ready. I think, as he mentioned, it'll be important to get that first save. I'm going to say first shot, first save, hopefully combined, of the night. Then all of a sudden you settle in and you're into it. And then instincts just kick in. Everything goes out, and then you're focused on the game. You're just playing a game like you do all the other times. And I think that's going to be important for him tonight. But I've never seen anything like it with the goaltending situation through 2 years now. I think this team's unfazed by it. They have confidence in everybody. They've had multiple goalies come in and perform. Aidan Hill's been excellent this year. The confidence level hasn't faded one bit. I expect a strong performance.
That save that Ashley was talking about with Aidan jumps out at me, because that's part of his game that I think has grown throughout the year. He's a great technical goaltender, but just doing the athletic responses has developed.
Well, I think it's great that he has that ability, but you look for the technical, the way the Golden Knights defend. And, sometimes as players, you got a guy coming in like Aidan and you have a new goalie. You want to give him as much success. So maybe you're a little more dialed in defensively. Give him those outside shots, which you mentioned, the technical part. He's big, stop the puck. But he has that athletic ability to come up with those saves maybe that he shouldn't make, that he has the ability to make. And, that's important. That's why he's playing at this level and, getting a great opportunity. You can tell, you could hear the excitement in his voice to get to this level. I think it was important.
They don't teach that at goalie school.
They don't. That is not that is not taught. Well, maybe the goalie school you used to go to, but that is certainly just desperation. That's a willingness to win. That's, and players do it, whether blocking shots. Goalies have their own kind of avenue of how they handle that situation of just getting in the way. So I think this is good for Aidan Hill. And I want to mention another guy who I think has been really key for both when Brossoit was in Aidan Hill, and that's Jonathan Quick. It's what he's able to bring as a calming influence, a veteran goaltender that has been through every situation possible, I think is the best possible sounding board for these goaltenders. And, we'll have to ask Aidan at some point, but if he's had a conversation with Quick and what he said, and I think it's great to have that experience behind you and somebody you can bounce ideas or questions off.
5 different goaltenders have won games this year for the Vegas Golden Knights. It is the epitome of next man up. So how much of it is just having a great organization of goaltenders, or is it the system?
I think it's a combination. I think, when you look at good goaltenders, usually they fall on good defensive systems. Allmark had a career year in Boston. Boston's historically been a good defensive team from Claude Julien, then through Bruce Cassidy, now to Jim Montgomery. That's, they've produced a lot of Vezinas, Tim Thomas, Tuukka Rask, now possibly Allmark. It's not a coincidence. There's a good defensive structure. So I think it goes hand in hand. That said, the goalie still needs to make the stops, and it's going to break down at times, and you're going to have there's good players on the other team trying to score. So it really is a combination. But I think the organizational depth at that position is strong. You mentioned the 5 goaltenders that were able to get wins. Injuries, unfortunately, have been part of it this year, but they've been able to get through it. It's remarkable how they have been able to get through it, and not only get through it, but have confidence and the belief in each and every guy that they can get the job done.
And update things, Logan Thompson is not skating. Laurent Brossoit will be reevaluated when the team returns from Edmonton. After Game 4 tonight, it will be Aidan Hill starting. Jonathan Quick moves into the backup role, and Yuri Patera has joined the team in Edmonton as the third stringer, the emergency backup. In the playoffs, you take your emergency backup goaltender on the road. You don't rely on the local guy. the local guy that can swing things in a big hurry. When we continue the projected lineup combinations, and you'll hear from Jonathan Marchessault coming off his 2-goal performance as we continue ahead of Game 4 on the Realm Report.
200,000 square feet on 85 acres. I present to you the Dollar Loan Center, the new epicenter of Henderson at the corner of Green Valley Ranch and Paseo Verde. Home of the Silver Knights.
I just love the Dollar Loan Center.
Your first loan is free in 2023. Apply online at don'tbebroke.com.
Your heating and cooling system goes down, or you find a huge leak. It's time to call Yes Air Conditioning and Plumbing. With more than 50 service trucks to cover the valley, we're always ready to help you 24 hours a day. Our technicians are highly trained to handle any plumbing or HVAC challenges in your home. In fact, they do their job so well, you may never see them again. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule an appointment today.
Realm Report continues. Vegas and Edmonton, Game 4 tonight, Game 9 of the playoffs for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they aren't Shane Knighty's Stanley Cup playoffs. He calls his name Nider. No changes among the skaters tonight. All kinds of offense. You'd see Jack Eichel going great, Jonathan Marchessault hitting the scoreboard. On the blue line, Zach Whitecloud was the first D-man to score. Offense is now coming from everywhere, and great discipline out of Alex Pietrangelo. Most encouraging out of the status quo in the lineup is that Jonathan Marchessault has found the mark.
Yeah, I think it's always just a matter of time. I mean, all the offensive players go through phases like that wants to help their team win a hockey game, and so far we're pretty good. But I mean, yesterday, last game, it was good to feel that you help your team win a hockey game. So yeah, just have to keep it going.
Do you feel any more loose going into this one now?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, hopefully we can keep it rolling and get something going on and get a little bit on a streak here. But it's all about our team and the way we manage the puck tonight. I think that's going to be the most important, especially with a high offensive team like them.
That's great to see, the relaxed delivery from Jonathan Marchessault. If you read into the way that he's speaking, he had a smile in Game 3 on the bench in the third period. Just a load off his shoulders.
Well, Darius, yeah, I think he was excited to get those 2 goals. Well, you're going to screw my name up. Anyways, yeah.
You
And it
spell it
is.
right.
We touched on it earlier for Marchessault. So, he's a guy that works. But at the same time, he needs to see results. He's a goal scorer. Led them in goals this year. As Dave mentioned, led them in power play goals. I think there, for him finding the back of the net, this is huge for him. There's one more guy still to do it. You'd like to see Riley Smith gain that confidence, but now all of a sudden, it feels a little bit better. All of a sudden, he's not squeezing the stick. He shots all of a sudden seem a little bit more on the mark, where he's trying to go upstairs and maybe they're just a bit wide or high. Now they're finding where they should go. So this was a great play by Jack Eichel, by the way. What a night he had as well. And I'd expect that line to have a little more confidence. 3-point, Eichel had the big night, pair of goals from Marchessault. So it's always good when you're feeling good going into the game, especially have that offensive confidence, as that line puts expectations on themselves to produce. They were able to produce, so hopefully that can continue.
Were you buying into the matchup going into the series from 2015,
No.
first draft choice, second overall, between Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel? Because Eichel has certainly responded in this series, including Game 3.
I'm all about the team game. Which team's going to win? And I think Jack Eichel's been really good. What I like about his game is the evolution of his game defensively. He has become a really good defensive centerman. Because of his size, his speed, and then yes, when he can chip in offensively, and you're going to look to him because he's the guy. You need him to produce like he did last game, and he puts expectations. He is ultra competitive. This was a great play. Just his speed up the ice, tough one for Bouchard, a little heel pick, but I like that he hung onto the puck, shot it. He's got a great shot, and
watch his eyes here. He doesn't.
Yeah, no.
Look at the goaltender.
He's looking, and that does. But what this does, you're looking at a goaltender. For me, see the D-man, that all of a sudden now he's got to take away that pass. That allows him maybe 2-3 feet extra. See, he starts at the circle, able to walk it in extra. Now he's got a better angle. He's in closer on the goaltender. But a great move there, just a crossover. It shows what his speed can do. See McDavid do it at the other side. It's a different way in which it happens. His speed backs off players, and for Bouchard, he kind of got caught in a tough place there and just blew a tire, and Eichel able to take advantage of it. So I think Jack Eichel, this might up his level of game. He's been consistent defensively. Now you just want to see him continue to contribute on the offensive side of things, and always good when he can do that, as he did last game, and hopefully that feeds now into Game 4.
What do you look at when you scored goals? Eichel's looking up into the stands.
At the puck, I'm looking.
Did it really go in?
I just black out. It didn't happen often, so I didn't need to worry about it. I never wanted to put that expectation on me, so there's never pressure to score.
I did like his celebration. Like, bring it. Let's go.
And that's what I said. He's ultra competitive, and he wants to win. He's been hearing it for a long time. He's finally in playoffs, and he's always going to have that comparison to Connor McDavid. I don't think it's fair to compare anybody to Connor McDavid. He's still an elite hockey player, and for me, this is a chance for him to really make his mark in the playoffs, and I think great step last game in that direction.
When he is using that speed, it opens up
speed and
so
power.
much more.
It's not only his speed, he's a strong guy. And what I love is when he protects the puck. If you ever watch in the offensive zone, he'll push the puck away from him, he'll wait for contact, and then he's got that first stride, and he gets separation. He does it a lot. He'll just kind of wait, puck, and he's got such a long reach, keeps the puck away so they can't stick check, feels the pressure, and he's strong enough to shield off that body contact initially. Then he moves away from it. He creates a little bit of the space, really good at doing that. And then coming up, obviously, off the rush, he can attack with speed. And even if you get a piece of him, you're not going to slow him down because he's powerful.
I feel obligated to ask you what you expect tonight, but I don't know whether anybody knows, given what's happened in the second round across all 4 series.
Well, I hope they change up the rhythm because the way it's gone.
Win-loss.
Yeah. And it's happened a lot. You look at the Dallas-Seattle series last night, exact same. And not only loss, it's so lopsided. So I think, you learn from the past. I think you still keep fresh part of the memories of what happened in Game 2. And then you keep fresh of what you did right to correct it, along with a few more corrections we'll need to make here because it's going to be an Edmonton team that's going to have pushback. That's playoffs. It's one team goes, the other team pushed back. But now it's a matter of having a response in game. You can't just wait for the game to end, okay, we're going to respond next game. No. If they get 1 or 2, whatever, what's the response right there? You're up by 2. Don't let off the gas. You got to keep going. And I think that's, again, the mental aspect of it. It is a mental challenge to continue to win in playoffs. This is the toughest time of year to play hockey. Every moment, every play just magnified. So you've got to have that strength to fight through it, whatever the situation is in the game, and not quit until that final buzzer.
Swing game, 2-2 coming home or a 3-1 series lead with an opportunity to close it out. We'll watch Game 4 tonight. The Vegas Golden Knights on ESPN with our friends over there on the television side. And 98.9 Fox Sports Las Vegas has the radio call, the pregame show coming your way at 7 o'clock. And then we are looking forward to the game just after 8 o'clock local time in Edmonton, 7 o'clock here in Las Vegas. And our watch party at Red Rock Resort and Casino. Looking forward to seeing you there as the Vegas Golden Knights look to win for the 3rd time in 4. This has been the Realm Report. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again on Friday.